Breaking news, Pluto is no longer considered a planet. Shockwaves have been simmering throughout the town. Regular folk and scientists have a lot to say about this. Let's hear from them.
The Kuiper Belt. And so we were sort of raked over the coals by the press saying, and especially little kids, say, angry, pissed off third graders saying, how could you possibly, just because it's small, how could you do that? And they're thinking that size was an issue. And in fact, it had much less to do with size than you might imagine, because Earth is included in this for scale. So here's a point I'll make, and I don't get to make this often enough, that Jupiter is more bigger compared to Earth than Earth is compared to Pluto. Okay? I don't know how else to conjugate those verbs in that sentence, but does it make sense to you? All right? So in other words, if we're on Earth saying we're big enough to be a planet, but Pluto isn't, then imagine what Jovians could be saying.
Within weeks, Pluto's status was being called into question. Its eccentric orbit and small mass set it apart from the other planets. 2006, the International Astronomical Union put it to the vote, and it wasn't good news for Pluto. The IAU decided that a planet had to be an object in orbit around the Sun that was massive enough for gravity to squeeze it into a spherical shape.
Pluto is a complex and mysterious world with mountains, valleys, plains, craters, and maybe glaciers. Discovered in 1930, Pluto was long considered our solar system's ninth planet. But after the discovery of similar intriguing worlds deeper in the distant Kepler belt, icy Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. Pluto is only about 1,400 miles wide. At that small size, Pluto is only about half the width of the United States. It is about 3.6 billion miles away from the Sun, and it has a thin atmosphere composed of mostly nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. On average, Pluto's temperature is negative 387 degrees Fahrenheit, making it too cold to sustain life.
Pluto orbits the Sun about 3.6 billion miles away on average, about 40 times as far as Earth, in a region called the Kuiper Belt. NASA's New Horizons spacecraft was the first spacecraft to explore Pluto up close, flying by the dwarf planet and its moons on July 14, 2015. A fun fact about Pluto is a year on Pluto is 248 Earth years.
Now let's hear from some locals on how they're taking this news.
What is your opinion on Pluto no longer being considered a planet?
I think it's a travesty. I think that we're doing a disservice to the universe by not making it a planet again. So make it bigger.
I agree, thank you.
Who is saying that Pluto is not a planet?
Our sources here are telling us that it is no longer a planet.
If it's CNN, it's fake news. I still consider it a planet, and I'm shocked that they would even consider changing that in history. I'm shocked.
I agree. I'm also shocked. Thank you for your opinion on this.
It's a little bit disappointing because growing up, it was a planet. It was one of everybody's favorite planets, I guess in large part because of Disney. So it's sad to see it go, but science is what it is.
Thank you very much. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about Pluto and how its updated status has affected the entire solar system.